I don't get worked up by a heck of a lot, I don't think.
What works you up in the bedroom?
Yeah, nothing. That ship sailed.
Really? Nothing adventurous in the sack? Nothing that you... What's one thing that you don't like in the bedroom?
My children. 2 cents gets distracted, eh?
Hey!
It's a podcast.
It's a rugby podcast. We don't usually talk about the name very rarely. We'll mention the name
It's
of the
2 cents
podcast.
because I'm 2 cents rugby.
And I have a YouTube channel that I put out one video every 6 months. And it's
called Distracted Sports. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I count these as videos I put out, although this one is actually on your channel.
The majority of the videos that you put out are these podcasts.
They are now, aren't they? They definitely are.
Yeah, you're almost like a podcast channel that does the odd bit of non-podcast work.
I just find at the time.
Yeah.
I'm halfway through writing a piece.
As you always are.
Just takes time, and I think maybe a little bit lazy too.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You need to live your life.
Live your life. You're a big fan of T.I.?
T.I.
He's the rapper who joins Rihanna on Live Your Life.
I did not know that was a person.
He's got a good line in there.
Okay.
Unhappy with your riches because you're piss poor morally.
Oh, wow, that's a good line.
That is a good line. Yeah. Do you feel like it's a bit misty in here this evening?
There was a bit of fog this morning. Some flights were cancelled from Auckland Airport.
Look at this, man. Like, I'm going to show you a photo. Like, because I was on a video call out this way and it was perfect blue skies.
Yeah.
And somebody I was on a video call with, he was like, I'm not far from you. And it's a pea fog smog. Pea fog smog.
There you go.
Pea fog? What do they call it? Pea soup.
Oh, yeah.
Pea soup fog. And then I was driving back into town. But this is... you can't see it. Maybe I could show it there. But that's... Oh, shit.
Oh, that's going to be expensive.
That's the Sky Tower.
Oh, wow.
They've just been swamped in fog.
That's bizarre.
It is bizarre. Look, there's going to be a lot of this sort of shit this weekend because there wasn't a lot of rugby on.
There were a couple of test matches.
Yes.
But the rugby pickings were a little bit slim.
A touch slim. For 2023 being a feast of rugby... This is a diet weekend, basically.
I do feel like they probably could have promoted those games a little bit better, but maybe there's a reason they didn't. Like here in New Zealand, at least the 2 games which we're talking Fiji hosted Tonga.
Yes.
And Japan hosted Samoa. Both of those games were on, which is a good thing because people in Australia were like, shit, this is not on Stan.
Yes.
And they're supposed to have all the rugby over there.
Right.
So at least we had it, but it was not promoted at all. And it was on like Sky Sports Select. So you're looking for it. It's like Channel 1, like Sky Sports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, the football was on, the World Cup, Women's World Cup's on. So that's taking up a lot of the...
That's the big deal in this part of the world right now.
That's all about that.
We've got to win against Norway. Should we go on a deep dive about that?
I watched the highlight where she got the goal. That was a pretty good goal.
I watched it live.
Did you?
I gave it a few kitchens.
Nice.
Some of that. There was an awful result in the Ashes this weekend as well.
Rain?
Yeah, rain. The Poms are about to draw it up 2-2, which never happens. They were absolutely dominated for 3 days, but the Manchester weather didn't play ball, and basically a day and a half was rained out, and they couldn't get a result.
Nice.
Not nice.
Cricket subject to the weather.
And then sadly, that means that the best the English can do is retain the Ashes.
They can't win them.
Therefore, they will not win they can't win the Ashes. And they were dominating that game.
Sucks. Cricket's a weather-dependent sport.
I feel like you were more talking about cricket then. You're like, it sucks.
No, cricket's all right. I don't mind cricket.
Yeah?
Yeah, Test cricket's the kind of thing I'd have on in the background. I don't know if I would sit there and actively watch 5 days of cricket.
But it's a great thing to have it on the background.
For sure.
And then at the end of the 5th day on a final session, when all results are on the table, you're
that final session, you'll sit there and watch every ball.
Yeah, you're crept in.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, back to the rugby.
They didn't get a lot of promo.
No.
And even in places, because people were asking me when I was doing the previews, like, what channel is this game on? Like,
yeah.
I would have a little look for people, like, what broadcasters are showing it. It was really hard to find. And, like, even on World Rugby's website, because sometimes they will say, like, oh, we've got a stream of it, if it's some game which has not been picked up by many broadcasters. Like, I went to their match center and had a look for the lineups of the Fiji and Tonga game.
Yep.
And they had the Tongan lineup, but all the Fijian guys were TBC. Even like as the game was playing, I was like,
The manager hadn't emailed through the little team list?
maybe. But I mean, you can look it up on Twitter. That's what I looked it up on.
Really?
Like the lineup had
They're
been out. For,
probably
the
like
lineup had been out for 48
There's probably
hours.
some stupid antiquated process where someone's got to put it on
Probably someone has to do it on a spreadsheet or something.
on a freaking carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
Send it
But
to
I was like,
Bill
come
Beaumont
on, World
himself.
Rugby. Like, I'm trying to big up this game, and you guys can't even get the freaking lineups out.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
So the All Blacks South Africa post-match analysis that you do, how many views would that get?
Depends who wins.
Okay, so this most recent one, the All Blacks won over 50K?
Maybe a bit less. If the South Africans had won, it would have been closer to 100.
Yeah, right. So
Anytime the All Blacks lose, you could double the views, basically.
yeah. How many views did you get for Tonga versus Fiji?
Tonga versus Fiji, it'll be less than 10,000.
Less than 10,000?
Maybe less than 5,000.
Sounds like a distracted video.
I was going to look it up for you, but my account that's logged in is my 2 cents on tour account. I recently did a video.
The Soviet. I haven't watched this one yet.
Nobody has. It's only got 600 views. Can you please watch it? It's actually a good video.
Yeah.
Like I was in Wuhan, and like there's Soviet graves in Wuhan, which is weird, right?
Why is no one watching it?
I don't know.
Is it got a sexy start, or are you so?
I thought I did. Some guy in the start little clips go like, "You stole one of our girls from China."
Oh, right.
And I was like, "That's a good line." And then there's some old fella who was like showing me some spear work with like a.
I lie. I watched the first 40 seconds or so, and I had to do something else. But I'm gonna watch it.
Please watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. I might watch it after this. But you didn't do your graphic, and I was pissed off.
What
you usually
graphic?
do like Wuhan, something or other district.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You missed that, and that always gets me. It makes me feel like
That
it's
makes you
official.
want to watch it. Okay.
Yeah, that's
But
the
2
problem.
cents on tour, please.
Yeah, watch it.
That's actually, I think it's my favorite video that I made there so
Oh,
far.
really? And no one watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Please go watch it.
Do you get to the goods quick enough, or do you talk about buses for too long? We've
I
gone over this
really
before.
trimmed down the public transport chat. I really trimmed it down.
All right, okay. Well,
I had a long chat with the shopkeeper, and I had a long chat
know
with
what
this
you
kung
need?
fu master guy in the park. And then I'm walking
You need
around
one of
these
these-
graves, and people are like taking my photo. It's real random.
You need to get the bald and bankrupt guy, or one of those guys who may be a 2 cents fan, like a 2 cents rugby fan.
Somehow I don't think those
Who's
two.
your biggest
What are those circles like? Where you get the Venn diagram things?
there's no overlap.
I don't think there's much overlap.
There might be.
Maybe.
You never know. 6 degrees of separation and all that sort of thing. What?
Please go watch that 2 cents.
Who's
on
your
tour
biggest
video.
subscriber who's subscribed to your channel?
World Rugby.
Wow. How many they got?
Over 1 million.
So he hasn't subscribed. They haven't subscribed to me.
2
yet.
cents on tour. Oh, to distract the sports. That's your channel.
No, World Rugby hasn't quite managed to get that.
Okay, they'll get them
Any day now.
Fiji
I'm
Tonga
almost up
was
to-
3,800.
Oh, that's not bad. I'm almost up to 6,000 views. 6,000 subscribers on
Good,
my
man.
little channel. Almost.
After you've gone to watch that Soviet video, go check out
Oh.
Tony's stuff on Distracted Sports.
We're going to be talking about a lot of random stuff today. I get the feeling. Do you get this, or do you want to keep it on track? You want to keep it real rugby content and do it?
Well, Fiji and
Okay, tell me about the game. Okay, I'll tell you what I know about it.
okay,
I really enjoyed aspects of that game. The aspects that I watched, because I didn't watch the whole thing because I was doing something else at the time. And it looked like, oh god, this could be an absolute horror show for Tonga at the start. They just were looking like they were doing training field drills, just running in tries. The first 3 tries were like within like 6 minutes or something stupid.
11.
It was
So
like
5,
boom, boom,
7,
boom.
and 11.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
was
and
faster than that All Black start against the Springboks. The other
yeah,
day.
and I was like, oh, this is ghastly.
This is gonna be
And I was like,
horrendous.
oh, far out. I gave the Tongans a big up the week before, saying they got some talent. But you know what? There's one of these nasty kind of stereotypes about island teams and all that sort of thing, is if you get on top of them early, you know, you're going to dominate for
Yeah.
a long period of time. But you know what was amazing? That they came back into it. They fought back in, and I could see, they had Solomon Okata out there. He's a great.
was fired up.
He's a really good player. I really like the
They
look
had
of him.
heaps of guys. They had Vaya Fafita, the former
Yeah.
All Black. They had Charles Piatow. They had Malakai Fikitoa.
And-
They had Big Ben
Israel,
Tamiafuna.
I didn't see Israel out there.
No,
this
Israel
week.
wasn't playing.
No.
Old Sparkles.
Yeah, Sparkles didn't make it.
They rested him.
Probably getting his nails done. But yeah, they've got some quality players out there. Solomon Okata, former Warriors player, by the way.
Brumbies player as well.
Yeah, he's quality. There's got that think one of the crucial things about that pool of death is Tonga has an upset in them. Tonga has one upset against them in them. They could upset anyone. If the forwards get a head up of steam and their incredibly classy backs like go apeshit and their halves can just keep it together, they've got an upset on them. Like Japan bet South Africa in Brighton. Let's remember that.
Stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah. And Japan did not have a backline like Tonga.
Tonga does, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Amazing. It's quite a pull, isn't
What
it?
Japan did have, I guess, was a lot more money and preparation time to target that game, whereas Tonga's usually lucky if they can get the same group of players together for kind of a stint.
I think they would be much better off for that run, and also having that game against Australia A would have been really
For sure.
beneficial
I think
for
it
them.
feels like they're together earlier than in previous World Cups. Like I remember the last World Cup, they came to Hamilton, we played them and beat them by like 100 points or 90. I was at that game. It was embarrassing.
That was so rubbish. Like it was so unfair on Tonga because that wasn't the Tongan national team. That was like the Tongan provincial New Zealand selection.
Was the COVID game.
Oh, right. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, before that, and the 2019, we beat them by a similar scoreline. But again, no former All Blacks guys and whatnot in that one.
Yeah. But it's just usually like Ben Tamiafuna is the player that I know from Tonga or someone like that, a big bopper. And, and then you go, oh, these other guys look like they have a bit of promise. But every second player is a global sensation.
Yeah, no, they got a lot of good players. And you're right, they did well because they were like, you said 3 tries early, penalty try.
Against that crowd,
got one. Yeah, the crowd in Lautoka was fantastic.
Yeah.
The weather seemed great. I remember it was miserable that day in Auckland. I was like, bloody hell, I wish I was in Fiji.
Wasn't it okay with the weekend?
It was just murky. I remember it was just dark. And I was like looking at that bright sunshine in Fiji and I was like, this is BS. It's the same time zone, for God's sake.
Same time of day.
Yeah.
Feels like midnight over here.
Yeah, it didn't seem right. But
us in Manchester.
But it was like there were heaps of good tries. Like it was how many tries were this game? Like 7 or 8 tries. It was a proper. I mean, it finishes 36-20 to Fiji, which is about right. I think Fiji at home are supposed to be better than Tonga. They beat them 36-0 the last time they played, so it was tighter than it could have been.
An absolute walloping, and considering after you wipe off the board those first 20 points or whatever, it's pretty tight from there on out. And also it was really just a little bit of class, or a little bit of momentum at the end that got it for Fiji, wasn't it?
Yeah, right when Tonga were looking like they might threaten, the Fijians were able to kind of pull it away from them. So, it was a fun game though. Really, really entertaining. But like I said, I'm a bit
games in the islands.
Shouldn't they get?
Shouldn't they get what?
Was more billing? Because there were so many big name players in that game. Like Semi Ranranda was on the bench for Fiji. Like that's a big name guy.
I think Sky
and
New Zealand and all that sort of thing are trying to basically concede the small patch of patch when the All Blacks to the football. Like we got our first ever World Cup win this weekend. Like we're hosting an international World Cup right now.
But even globally, like people were just like, "Oh, this wasn't broadcast in my country."
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's a missed opportunity in a week where there's no other games on. Like there's no other tests. There's no All Blacks playing.
They could have
the Six Nations countries aren't doing their preseason stuff yet. This is a chance to put the spotlight on these countries prior to a World Cup. Yeah, because you'll be interested at the World Cup. Like, oh, I remember that guy. He played in that Fiji Tonga. He was great.
Highlight the big classes: Sami Radradra versus Charles Piutau.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's enough big names there to make it good billing.
Watch the greatest Pacific flair in the world.
Yeah, basically. But
the Pacific's never been stronger. The best players are back. Create the narrative, create the storyline. They could have done it. You're right. It just
seems like a bit of a missed opportunity. It just kind of, a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't even know this game was on. I wish they were showing it in my country. So
I think it was, for us, it was almost like after that, all the hype and anticipation of the Box and the All Blacks when it's in New Zealand, it was just like a decompression. But I can't speak for the rest of the world, basically, in terms of what their thoughts on it were.
Either way, it was a good game. I
still can't believe Tonga's in that pool. What pool are Fiji in?
In the pool with Australia, Wales, Georgia. Yeah. Like, that's a hard pool to read right now. Like, Australia in a slump. It's too early with Eddie, but still, technically, man, they've lost a lot of games.
They
in a slump.
Should get
Wales
out of that.
in a slump. Fiji, who the hell knows? They could do anything. Georgia, man, they beat Wales last year.
So I think the Wallabies will get out of that pool.
You got to feel like Wales will probably get out, but who knows?
I don't think so.
don't
I think they're such dog shit. They are. They're not good. They're bad. They've been bad for a long time. And to be fair, they almost beat the South Africans in a series last year. Yeah. But they seem to be all at sea. Their best players, their legends, are like quitting this year
before a World Cup,
which is that's not a good sign of the culture. It's not a good sign of where they.
Maybe a clearing out and a fresh start is what they need.
Maybe imagine if Richie McCaw in 2015 was like, you know what, I've played 138 Test matches. I'm gonna hang up my boots. The old body's tired. Like, no, you want to go out. Like, so they got rid of Tipuric. Was it Tipuric? The other players.
Tipuric, Alan Wynne, and there's more. I forget the other ones. Reece Webb, a bunch of them.
I could see Fiji. I could see them losing game. They'll lose at least one to Fiji or Georgia. They won't beat Australia. And and I don't. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I like the Welsh. A lot of love for the people, but I just think they're not a good rugby team.
In a bit of a slump at the moment.
Rugby team at the moment. And look, I'm happy to be wrong, but I'll also be thrilled if Georgia or Fiji got through.
That'd be amazing. It'd be a great storyline.
Yeah.
Be a great argument against that kind of rugby nations league that's been proposed for those non-Lions tour years, non-World Cup years.
Yeah. 100%. Like if the likes of Georgia, could get out and do something at this World Cup, like make a playoff game.
That's kind of what happened with Argentina. Like they were so good at World Cups, it was like these guys need to be playing in a competition. That's how they got into the Rugby Championship.
Yeah. You know what they've done with the flipping? I almost swore because I feel angry about this. One of the best pathways and also pathways to get legitimate interest in rugby in general is going through sevens.
Right.
They've cut that down to a 12 team competition.
Oh.
So, like, a lot of those, like, smaller nations, like Portugal and all these sorts of teams that have done really well, and they have their moment in the sun sometimes. There's a second-tier competition for them now.
Oh. Streamlining.
Thanks, Bill. Twat. I think that's just, it's just trying to build the most interest they possibly can in the contests and the clashes. I guess it's all about money, though, isn't it? It's not like growing the game is secondary to a short-term cash payout.
Seems to be the way of things, yeah.
Kind of depressing. Boy, when did we get so cynical? I'm the cynical one here, aren't I?
What was not depressing was, actually, Japan against Samoa.
You told me what a dog... I didn't watch it.
I was going to say, like, the result for Samoa was fantastic. The game itself was kind of ugly, and because that pool's also got England and Argentina.
Is Japan in that pool too?
Yeah, so there's a World Cup kind of preview that game. Like I had one of the Argentinian guys in the comments of that game with a preview going, I don't know how I feel about this game. Like if Japan come out and wallop them, that's kind of scary for Argentina. If Samoa pull off a big upset, maybe that's a bit scary. But I think both England and Argentina look at this game and go, this should be fine.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
There was a lot of errors in that game. Like the Samoan line-out operated at like 50%.
I watched the highlights and...
Admittedly, they were without some of those big guns that the Tongans have got, like the likes of Aluatua and like Chris Vui and all those other guys. Like they're going to come back in.
What about
what
were your thoughts? I saw the red card. Looked like a red card.
It seemed like a pretty blatant red.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of talk that one of the Samoan guys who had got a yellow for a similar incident earlier should have also been red. But I thought
I didn't see that incident.
The guy he clattered into was just so bent over, bracing for the tackle. I was like, you can't red that. I thought he was unlucky to get a yellow because he's just so low. Like if you want to avoid a cut, you're just going to crawl. I don't know. You're not allowed to crawl, but you know what I mean.
Well, you can't penalize a player for having doing everything they possibly can to
I've legit seen it. Guys who are fully bent at the waist. The ref's just like, bro, he had proper tackle technique.
Yeah.
You're carrying the ball too low.
Yeah.
Well, the ref doesn't say that, but that's what they mean.
Well, that's one big thing my old man always told me. He was like, get low.
Well, it's harder to stop.
Yeah, 100%, especially close to the line.
My son got close to the line this weekend just gone.
Get in,
He's not had his finest rugby season this year.
You've mentioned
in the first year of tackle. But I was kind of
was
bribing him. I was like, bro, if you can get a try or something, I'll get you something. But
I'll get you some.
he was going down the wing. He had his best carry of the entire season.
He had space.
He skinned their team, which is the first time he's
got some pace.
he actually used the pace for a change. Like usually he just like, oh shit, I don't want to get tackled, so he just kind of meanders into the traffic and just takes the tackle and just recycles the ball. It's like, click, done. Like he clicked. Like I don't know what dad's gonna get me, but I want that. He burns down the wing. There's one defender to get. But because my son's right on the side, the guy just fucking pushes him out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And my son just falls down in a heap and comes over in tears. All the kids cry when they get shoved out.
Oh,
Because plus the ground was like quite sandy.
Right,
so he got all scrapes on his leg and stuff. But I was like, oh, good on you, son.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Good carry.
Yeah, well done. We're very proud of you.
But he didn't get a try. But it was close.
Did you buy him something?
I got him something smaller than I was going to get him if he got the try.
What'd you get him? Kinder Surprise.
Yeah. What a guess.
You could just tell. I was like, what's something that feels kind of special, but it's not going to break the bank? Yeah, there we go. Kinder Surprise. Okay.
But yeah, Japan got a red card. They lose 24-22. But this is, I mean, from a Tongan point of view, Samoan point of view, it's great to get this win.
Who are the I know they've got, what's his name? Balding, number 10.
Leliafano kicked 100%, man. He was on fire.
Oh, God. Poor guy didn't have his greatest boots for...
From Moana Pacifica, but geez, he was good for Samoa. He won that game for them, really.
Yeah, well, he's a quality player. Like, he's a good player to drive them around.
Charlie
the park.
Faumuina on the bench.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a few big gun players.
Who else is out there?
They had a bunch of Moana Pacifica guys, which was actually quite interesting.
The question I want to ask you, though, is more about the red card.
Yeah.
Do you advocate for the 20-minute red card? Because I personally do.
I feel like people still get the wrong end of the stick with the 20-minute red cards. People still think the guy gets to come back on.
What do you mean?
So many people think that the 20-minute red card is just a double yellow card, so that like you get red carded, and you bugger off for 20 minutes, and then you get to come back on. Because that's not what a 20-minute red card is.
I never thought that was the case.
People who maybe haven't seen it in action seem to think that's what it is.
It works really well because 20 minutes without a player is
a big chunk of the game, and that player can't come back on.
No. He's gone, and so
gone.
Your whole team is
down a man.
Down a man. It's going to be hard for them to manage them. It's going to be they're going to fatigue a lot more. So there is a distinct advantage, but it's at least they get to have 15 on 15, especially if being a consumer of the sport. It just makes for such a better game than freaking 78 minutes with 14 against 15. At this level, it's just so massive. I think we're seeing it less and less. I remember back in the day, like early 2000s, mid 2000s, stuff like that. You see the All Blacks go down a man and they'd rally.
Right.
And they'd rally, they'd get up.
They'd almost get pissed off that they were down a man.
But now the teams are just so slick and so professional and so physical that you don't see that anymore. It's such a distinct
You expect to concede, I think, 7. I think that's the average.
So 7 minutes every 10 minutes.
7 points every 10 minutes, you're down a man.
7 points every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So across 80 minutes, 7 times 8, that's 56. That's
a chunk of points.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of points. I'm really impressed I did the maths, though, that quickly.
I don't think I've ever seen the maths for the red cards. That's what it is for yellows, though. So,
well, if you could extrapolate that out, basically, that's immense. But that's considering that's literally first play of the game. Guy goes in with a left. Well, that was almost similar to Sam Warburton's.
Yeah,
he got it.
I mean, the argument against it is that you get guys who will target star players from the opposition, but I genuinely don't think that will happen. Maybe I'm just naive, but we've seen 20-minute red cards in like Super Rugby, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
people don't just go Richie Mo'unga, I'm going to mess him up.
No, you don't see that.
It just doesn't happen.
It's like a sort of old school Canada hockey kind of vibe.
Yeah,
isn't it?
But they don't do the enforcers like that.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out and try and mess
somebody up, get under somebody's skin. It doesn't happen.
No, I think they need.
But it would have been the case for a 20-minute red for sure, because it was just poor tackle technique.
Are they doing the whole like, oh, you've got a yellow card, we're not going to sit around and freaking look at this contact 80,000 times?
No, that one they looked at it for quite a while before making a call. Yeah.
So they don't do the
it was great in the under 20s.
I think at the World Cup they're not doing the yellow, and then could be up.
I forget what they've decided, but I know in the
do it. It was so good.
in the under 20s they did that same one as Super Rugby, but not the 20-minute card. So it was just that's a yellow, so you're gone, and then the TMO would have a look at it and go red, and if it was red, they stayed red.
Yeah,
But at least they kept the game kind of moving.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like just something to speed up the game. They're saying they're all about just the spectacle and all that sort of shit. Best spectacle is 15 on 15, and it's also not pissing around looking at thousands of replays. Like the Soccer World Cup is so far, football in general is so far behind the ball in terms of using technology. Their shit now, like it went from this fluid, amazing game to now when they review something, just takes so long.
That's why they didn't want to implement it for ages because they were worried about it.
They could make it snappier. So right now, if there's a penalty or something like that, the referee just has to sit there and sort of hears from the TMO basically, and then they're doing it a bit like the NFL. They go to a special little screen and then they've got to review it and they sit there and watch it. And, and that's why we're getting like freaking these games have got like 9 minutes of injury time at the end of both halves because there's just so much stoppages. Yeah.
I did see that with the highlights. I think the black what are they called? The black
white ferns, black ferns.
What was the football team called?
The New Zealand women's football team.
Okay, the New Zealand women's football team. It was like 9 minutes of added time. I don't know.
Something ferns.
Probably something ferns.
It's either got black or ferns in it, basically, every New Zealand team.
But yeah. It seemed like 9 minutes of injury time. I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
One sport I also follow a bit is the old ice hockey.
I know you do.
And when I first followed it, there were a lot of stoppages for the equivalent of TMO. And each team would have like a video specialist who would be watching their own kind of little feed that they could go back on to look for like offsides and things to rule out goals. Because then they've got like the equivalent of like a captain's challenge.
Oh, yeah.
But it was slow. And the NHL actually kind of clamped down on it. They reduced the number of things you could challenge for. They reduced the number of things that the refs could go back for. And if you get a challenge wrong, you actually get penalised. You get to go into the penalty box.
Oh, you get a power play against you.
Now when I watch it, bugger all TMO. It's really free flowing. I like it.
So the NRL, they have a captain. They have a captain's challenge.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is you got a 10-second window.
Right.
You got to do it. You can't do it for certain calls.
Right.
It's more like strips and knock-ons and stuff like that, or disputed things like that, where someone just get up and goes, "I didn't touch it," because they have to go yell at their ref. They have to yell at the captain challenge, and they get into it as quickly as they can, and it's usually relatively quick. But then they have I think they have one or two. I think they might only have one captain's challenge. The only thing that kind of is irritating about the captain's challenge is there's lots of games where people just don't use it at all. And then there's just a silly knock on in the last 2 minutes, and they're like, well, we might as well use it.
That's what happened in rugby when they trialled it, and I couldn't stand it because they would just waste it, and it would waste everybody's time.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that if they do have it, there needs to be a punishment if you muck it up. You need to get a guy in the bin. Something
in the
like
bin?
That. Yeah, in the bin.
No.
There needs to be a firm enough punishment that you better be bloody right.
Penalty.
It's
a penalty infringement.
Man. You better be right.
It's a penalty infringement.
You better be right.
Yeah,
you're wasting everybody's time.
Sometimes people get it wrong. Sometimes things are 50-50 calls. The guy's like...
So you don't challenge 50-50 calls. You got to control yourself.
Anyway, sometimes people are absolutely
I would
convinced...
rather not have them at all, to be honest.
I like them. What do you... I don't know. Do you want to drink this?
Yeah, sure.
The Hop Zombie?
Okay.
How many percent is this one? Oh, shit.
Maybe I shouldn't. Is it above 10? I have to drive home.
Yeah, no, it's 8.5.
Oh, that's fine.
Damn, son.
Yeah, Japan lost. They only scored one try. They kept the scoreboard ticking over with penalties, but Samoa... And to be honest, one of the tries that Taumatene got, the halfback, was like a charge down from a real pathetic kick from the Japanese guys clearing. They'd just scored a penalty. They scored 2 penalties.
There were a lot of penalties in this game.
Oh, man, it was ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't a classic, but... I mean, it's a great result for Samoa. Psychologically, going into a World Cup, knowing that you've just beaten those guys without a bunch of your big guns over in Japan at a baseball stadium, which was half full.
Yeah, I thought the stadium looked a bit odd.
Yeah, it's like a 50,000 seater. So
Right. Well, I feel sorry for the Japan public. I feel like
Would the All Blacks sell out a 50,000 seat game against Samoa if it was being played at... Where else do we have 50,000 seat? We've only got Eden Park, but... Like, it was being played in Hokkaido, which is like the equivalent of like Whangarei.
Do we have... What can you fit at... What can you fit at North Harbour Stadium when it's jam-packed?
Close to 30?
30, yeah, maybe. Tell me how that tastes.
Have you been to a test match?
That's been in my fridge for about 4 years.
Oh, well, beer doesn't go off.
It's got hops. Show the people. We're still waiting for that elusive beer sponsor.
We haven't reached out to anybody. I think usually that's how that works.
We drink beers on a podcast.
Can you give us some beers? We'll shout you out.
Yeah, we'll
If any of you guys run a beer company, if you run a brewery...
We'll talk about your beer for briefly. We could end up talking about it for longer than we need to contractually talk about it.
That's true.
But we will talk it for at least 90 seconds a week.
There you go.
Yeah.
I went to a beer museum while I was in Wuhan, by the way.
Yes, put a card in there.
Card up.
There you go.
2 cents on tour.
2 cents on tour. I've said it once. I'll say it again. My favorite
New Zealander going through Wuhan.
No, actually, favorite tall New Zealander.
Oh yes,
traveling around Wuhan. There's that other guy, $3.50. He's a little bit shorter than you.
He's a bit better, isn't he?
Yeah. It's just class. Just class.
But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So we've gone through. That was the rugby.
Samoa and Fiji, good wins.
Yeah, well, that is a big
Japan's in a bit of a shit position, man.
In a bit of a pickle.
They peaked 2019 at home, World Cup, Jamie Joseph, working miracles, quarterfinal, great high. Like, you be tier 1, we'll get you into the Rugby Championship or something. Or there was talk about Six Nations maybe. There was all the talk, all the rage.
Yeah.
And then since then, they lost the British and Irish Lions. They've lost to Ireland twice. They just lose to every tier 1 team, and they haven't looked class.
No.
People who follow Japanese rugby a lot closer than I do are saying things like, Jamie Joseph's just bringing all these foreign guys in. He's not really. He's doing what JK did when he was in Japan. He's not really building on what the Japanese talent is. He's not playing.
So they've gone from
like Japan rugby.
So Jamie, and they were kind of. I feel like maybe this is a little bit cynical, but he was like, well, if you looked at what Eddie Jones did, it's a launching pad into something bigger, and he was obviously trying to get the big gig next year with the All Blacks, and he missed out on that. So where's his next move, or do you think anyone really wants him now?
Don't know. Still young enough to get another job, isn't he? In his 50s.
I don't know. Yeah. Do you remember him playing?
Bit of a dirty player.
Yeah, he used to call the lineouts.
Right.
Yeah. Or was it Aaron Penne that I'm thinking of?
I have no idea.
Maybe they both did. You remember Aaron Penne?
No.
I do. Yeah. Same sort of era.
Okay.
You know, sort of like.
You remember Bernie McCarhall?
Yes, the name rings a bell. Oh, yes, I do actually. Very funny guy.
Yeah, real funny. He was in those like all
all
those videos that they made, like Blood, Sweat and Touring, and the other one.
I had the other one.
The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby.
Oh no, I had another one. It was called I was about to say Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, but it's an album from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was called what was it called? Blood, Sweat and Touring, when they toured France in 1990. Yeah, that was really good. I had that on VHS. Watched it tons.
I think that was the sequel to Good, the Bad, and the Rugby.
Yeah. I didn't.
Was it Blue and White?
Yeah,
we had that as well.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was really good.
Yeah. Anger the Winger and Michael Jones did a very long handshake in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Michael Jones gets a haircut at one stage. You see them getting pissed.
Yeah.
A number of times. Going out having big nights in France. Very amateur, but very, very. They're still taking it very seriously. Mad Max Maxwell. Simon Mannix.
Oh, yeah.
He was the young man on tour. Had an absolute shocker in his first game. And you see Grant Fox giving him a talking to,
really?
just trying to set him straight, but trying to be positive at the same time. You hear Grant Fox and John Kerwin in the infancy of their punditry, but sounding every inch of pundits and crowds talking.
Yeah, John Kerwin loved the limelight, even back in those videos.
Yeah. Well, he was actually also, there was another video that he was in. It was VHS time that was out, and it was about when Matthew Ridge went to league.
Yeah,
and it was about his story about converting, and somehow John Kerwin's along for the whole thing because they were mates the whole time. And that goes through the whole process of going from amateur rugby to
Matthew Ridge is in one of those ones, either Bloodsport Touring or Good, the Bad, and the Rugby. Like he's like the new boy as well.
You guys really enjoying us talking about VHSs from the late 80s and early 90s?
You guys won't know half of these guys.
Yeah.
Or you'll only know them as like a commentator kind of thing. Like the same way we would know like Pine Tree Meads, like, oh yeah.
John Kerwin was a hell of a player. Matthew Ridge was a huge loss to New Zealand rugby and was just one of the best rugby league players we ever produced. Was a great
Seagulls legend.
Was a great kicker, great field goal kicker. Not field goal, goal kicker. Make him sound like he's playing NFL all of a sudden. But yeah. VHSs.
I think those are both on YouTube.
Are they?
I think so. Go watch them.
Put a card.
I'll put a card 2 cents on tour. Watch it.
Has it got real bad uptake? Sometimes it just happens for whatever reason.
One of my videos just was like 14,000 views for a channel with less than 1,000 subscribers, and this one's like 600. So it's just the algorithm doing algorithm things. But I liked the video, which is gutting. I was like, why isn't it more people?
I know that sucks. I've got some of mine some of the ones I
like. This is a banger, and then you're like,
some of the things I haven't liked that much get 60K, and I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, freaking, I'm awesome at this. And then you put like your heart and soul into one. Yeah. It might be about rugby league in some sort of small way. Right. And then it gets like, that one's, some of them just don't blow up the same way. It's weird. I actually know why the one that I'm thinking of didn't blow up.
Because your audience is not largely...
Well, no, my ones that I get confused about sometimes. So I did my fullback one that got 100,000 views.
Right. People love fullbacks.
But then I've done my right winger. It was my centre. I don't think that centre one's maybe cracked 10,000 views or something, and the other ones have got like 40 and 50 or something.
It's a real mystery as to what happens on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube stuff, though, I saw my dad on. I want to say
you're talking about your tweet.
Yeah,
I saw that tweet. I saw your little tweet interaction.
I saw him on like Tuesday when I was taking my car to get a Warren Fitness, and I take it out to a garage near where my mum and dad live. So they picked me up, took me for a coffee.
That's nice.
Bunnings Warehouse for a coffee.
Bunnings Warehouse, a little Columbus in there.
I think it's just their own in-house cafe.
Oh, they don't run a sneaky Columbus.
No, is that Mitre 10 that does
I think they run a Columbus. Yeah. Columbus is a chain of crappy
expensive coffee. But yeah, my dad was like, because he often gives me like YouTube rugby channel recommendations.
Still waiting for my recommendation.
He told me he subscribed. Remember that was a while back.
Yes.
Like he begrudgingly finally checked you out and then was like, oh, he's actually all right. Like he thought it was going to be something else. But yeah, he was like, I found this guy, Squidgy Rugby. Squidgy. He's all right. That was his line. Like, he's all right.
I thought
which is actually pretty good praise.
Yeah.
Like I've been waiting for it as well because
a baby boom in New Zealand, that's basically
like he found Kiwi Lads when they were a much smaller channel. Like he found Kiwi Lads before he found Squidge.
Wow.
Which is just like I don't know how the algorithm works.
Maybe he likes live streams.
Maybe, don't know.
That is strange.
Yeah. Just recommend.
Maybe he his search terms are like Kiwi Rugby.
Maybe
Kiwi boys go hard, stuff like that. So he found Squidgy, and he was a fan.
I think because of that All Blacks Springboks game video.
I thought you tried to show him one of their videos once. And
I showed him one years ago.
And he said, he talks a bit fast.
And he just had no interest at all. He was just like, no, I can't. I could tell he wasn't really engaged.
I really like the intros and outros and the Squarespace ads for Squidge, but when I watch, I really appreciate what he does and the humor he injects into it. But for like the X's and O's and the 2-4-3 freaking combinations and stuff like that, I just realized to myself, I'm like, I'm a dumb, but I don't understand this. Like
I like to watch games once.
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah,
I don't get it. It makes me feel like a moron. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm just like in terms of where I get to tactically, it's like do the hard work up front, feed the speed out wide. That's it. Yeah. Like it's very, very, and if I slowed it down and rewatched it a few times, it's amazing what he can read into it.
sure.
And I'm sure obviously the professional game,
Yeah.
they have to go to those sort of levels. But yeah, for me, I'm just like,
Yeah, I can't interpret
I'm in awe of it.
I
I think
can't
it's
interpret
amazing.
it the way... I mean, I guess it just comes from watching it. I think if you watched games enough times, like, you might not get that level of insight, but you'd probably see stuff that you missed just on that
Yeah,
first
100%.
watching. But, like, I like it from the stats, eh?
Yeah,
that's
like-
where I'm like, oh, shit, these guys are often doing this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
seeing, like, oh,
That's
these guys
your-
always kick
that's
off
your bread and
9.
butter.
Yeah, that's what I love.
yeah.
But, I mean, then you watch his stuff and you're like, man, that's interesting.
2-4-3 pod formations, going into a crash ball for a man underneath, going out wide into
Yeah.
a boot.
Rugby
then going
players
for the
don't
high
seem
ball.
that smart, but he gives them a lot of credit for
Yeah,
being freaking
yeah,
geniuses.
yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess Wayne Smith's thing was always like, keep like this. You can have a real complicated plan, but as long as you just give it to them and kind of bite-sized, simple
Like,
messaging.
this is your job. When you're here, you do
do
that.
this. That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
They give them
Keep
like
the
3 jobs kind of thing. That's it.
Keep their job simple. But and also, they're probably... I think at this level, like, if you're just a knuckle dragger, like, you're probably not going to get... you're probably not going to get too far out of NPC level, really. Like,
You need to have a bit of nous about
you.
you.
Have to have nous. You have to have really good decision making. You also have to have incredible professionalism and
Yeah.
work ethic and all that sort of jazz as well.
Yeah.
And that's, you can become more
Yeah.
and more intelligent by the
Oh,
harder
we
you
often
work.
give players grief for being like shit.
Yeah.
But the ones that we are looking at as shit are still unbelievable athletes. I think I might have mentioned when I saw one of the Blues, like, 3rd string halfbacks playing at club rugby.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
at Super Rugby level, he looked genuinely like kind of hot garbage. Like, at times, okay at best.
Yeah, but-
And then in club rugby, he looked like the best player on the planet.
Yeah. He was a flat track bully kind of thing.
Basically.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he looks small on TV because he's a halfback. And not that small, but then...
What bloke are you talking
I
about?
can't remember his name.
Did he have cornrows?
It wasn't Sam Knock. It was one of the bigger guys. But yeah, he looked like a beast at club rugby level.
Yeah, right.
That just puts things into context. Because when I stand on the sideline at club rugby level, I'm like, these guys are pretty big.
Yeah.
But then you see him, you're like, right, he's a guy who gets paid to train.
I would, like going into like I've been into like many towns all over New Zealand, and on a Saturday night when the local rugby team comes in, you're like, these pretty big men, you know? And then but you put them next to a professional squad and you're like, they look just woefully out of shape, but they look, the tits for everybody else in the town on a Saturday night in Dargaville.
You been to Dargaville?
Have been to Dargaville?
I've never been to Dargaville.
Where have you name a town? I'll tell you if I've been there.
Huntley.
Yes, I've been to haven't had a night out in Huntley.
Ngarawahia.
I have. Are you just going to go town to town as we go further south? Or are you just
I'm just trying to think of towns. Meri.
Meri? I don't know where that is, so no.
I think it's just near Pocono. There's like a drag strip there.
Oh, yeah, like near Hampton Downs? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I tried to stop there to get refreshments once, and the whole town only had a dairy, and I was like,
You can get refreshments to the dairy. What are you trying to get? Hard
I was
Class A drugs?
because I have my in-laws with me. I was like, I can't just take them to a dairy.
Oh, right.
So we ended up.
Here's a
going to
Monster
Pocono.
energy drink.
Yeah, exactly. This weekend, in case you didn't know,
Rugby!
the Rugby Championship's
Oh my
getting back
God.
underway.
I'm psyched. Like,
Bledisloe.
yeah, I love the bloody Bledisloe. I love it. I really do. Like, I don't know why, but I always feel like no matter how badly Australia's playing or how well we're playing or vice
They're a
versa,
chance.
they talk like they're a chance. They're never short on confidence, and it is like obviously South Africa are these great rugby foes and all that sort of thing, and it's wonderful. We do have a lot in common with them.
You care more about the Bledisloe than the Freedom Cup, I'm imagining.
Oh, absolutely. But I care more about the rivalry with the Box for some reason. And I don't know how that makes sense. But I don't give a crap about the Freedom Cup. But the
So the
Bledisloe
rivalry
Cup...
with the Box is not like
we've
personified
won
by this
14,
trophy.
We've won 14 Freedom Cups in a row.
Maybe that's why we don't have a big deal. We haven't not had it for a long time.
Well, we've had the Bledisloe Cup since
Even
2003. Yeah. But they
Some
always
people
rate
are
themselves...
watching who've never lived in a time when we didn't have the Bledisloe.
Yeah. I hope you die in that time too. I don't want you to die anytime soon. I've somehow cut myself during the course of this podcast.
Opening your beer bottle.
You reckon it was my beer bottle? Yeah, it could have been. You know, maybe it's one of those things you get when you're older. Your skin becomes a little bit more weak and frail.
Gaza will like get out of the car,
Get a nick.
get to the front door. He's like, I'm bleeding. Literally, he does have to take blood thinning medication, so he bleeds like a stuck pig. But yeah,
What? So why are we laughing?
he's just a bleeder.
Poor guy.
My mum will come home. She's like, "Why is there blood on the floor?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't even notice."
I had a sandwich.
Yeah, basically, he just bleeds. He knocks himself and just doesn't notice. He's got paper thin skin.
Yeah, right. Anyway, always an exciting game. Always a fear of getting beaten with them. And look, they were one rain-out call away from putting their shit together and getting it done last time. And they, I don't know, similar kind of squads right now.
We're over at the MCG.
We're
We're in
playing-
hot form.
We're playing better than we
They've
were.
been hot garbage.
I don't think they were hot garbage against Argentina. I think they were very much what a team looks like when they play in South Africa and they're half a beat off the pace. They played they played with a bit of rust. They played like it was their first game together for a long time. But I thought Argentina played really well in that game, and I thought it was a high quality football game.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm countering your hot garbage, and I'm saying they're on the improve, but they just haven't got the wins.
That was actually just kind of a throwaway line. I'm still a believer in the Eddie Jones project. I don't know why. Like, we need like a line for that. Like, what are you if you believe in Eddie Jones? It's like something like cult that you've got to join.
You're jonesing.
You're jonesing. I'm jonesing for Jones.
Jonesing. I want them to do well.
I genuinely don't think
I don't
that
want them to win this weekend.
within 2 games, you can't have your house in order.
No.
Like, even Rassie Erasmus, when he took over the box, they didn't turn it around immediately. They lost to Wales in America, I remember, in some awful game. Like, it took a wee while for them to get things
And
going.
isn't that one of the things they were saying, that they didn't want to have Razor come in last year because he'd only have a year to turn around? Basically, they've said, go on, Jones. And to be fair on poor old Rennie, who I think is the unfortunate one in all this,
He's laughing right now.
he wasn't going that bad.
No, they had some close losses in that end of year tour. Ireland and from France.
The 2 best teams in the world, they were unlucky,
Away from home,
unlucky not to lose.
Yeah.
You know, like, and let's see how they go this week. Who are they going to put? Are they going to... Quaid will probably play at 10. He always plays like garbage when he plays us, though.
Then to play Carter Gordon.
I'd like to see Carter Gordon at 10. I really would.
Someone who's never lost a Bledisloe.
And they've who are they going to put in the centres now that Ikitau? Was Ikitau going to
Yeah. Do you put Karevi to 13? Because he started his career as a 13, but then he's been a 12 for so long.
It's
I
a kind of
don't
a
know.
slightly
I mean,
different
God-
role.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe...
You need more pace at 13. You know, you need to have like
Rico Ioane.
Rico. Well, you do need to have winger pace. You think about like a lot of the great 13s. They had some super.
Not
speed.
Conrad Smith, though.
No, not Conrad Smith. Tana Umaga had quick. A lot of them come from the wing to the inside. You know.
You pump for it, though.
Yeah,
Bledisloe.
I love the old Bledisloe. And it's on later, so you can.
MCG as well.
MCG, not a great
Unusual
place.
venue. Round.
Yeah,
It's an oval.
one of the worst grounds in the world to watch a game of rugby because
You're very far from the pitch.
You're watching a game of footy that's like literally like 5 miles away. Like, so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for cricket.
Yeah,
Good for Aussie rules.
I was watching the football on the weekend, and I think Eden Park is a dumb shape too, isn't
It's
it?
a rectangle.
It's not quite a rectangle. It's just, it's all over. There's these big side areas. Like the best grounds that we have for actually watching football is freaking Waikato Stadium in New Zealand.
That's my favourite rugby watching ground.
Yeah. I want to go to a game in Dunedin.
It's nice.
You've been to a game in Dunedin?
Yes.
What have you been to?
I went to watch the Blues take on the Highlanders.
You drove all the way.
I flew.
Specifically to watch the game?
Yep.
Oh, you are a fan.
This is
aren't you?
before I had a YouTube channel. It was back when JK was coaching the Blues.
What was it? Was it a specifically important game?
I just wanted to go see that stadium down there and see the Blues play.
Yeah.
I've actually liked rugby longer than when I had a YouTube channel.
Who'd you go with?
I went with my wife and my parents, actually. We all went together down to there. We went to the Royal Albatross Sanctuary thingy, saw some albatross, because there's albatross down that way.
I've been outside the stadium. I've been to a school right next to the stadium.
Yeah, we went to the stadium. What else did we do in Dunedin? We had some cheese rolls.
Oh, do you have a Dagwood?
They were pretty nice. They didn't have a Dagwood. What the hell's a Dagwood?
So Dagwood is a very southern a sandwich, basically. And a Dagwood essentially is what they call 2 pieces of white bread, and you basically find whatever's in the fridge, whatever is in the fridge, you put in between 2 pieces of white bread, and they call it a Dagwood.
Nice.
So
Didn't have one of those.
big hunk of cheese, some corned
cheese
beef, just some mustard, some anything else, some pickle, whatever you have in the fridge.
I went to Larnac Castle.
Lanark Castle. It's basically
One of New Zealand's only like stately houses.
It's built on the same map as Edinburgh, isn't it?
I think so. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool because like,
I
that's
like
like
the-
going to Downton Abbey in New Zealand, like a miniature version.
I've had a couple of good nights in Dunners.
Okay.
Although I feel very old now. Well, not that last time I went, it was probably 3 years ago. Had a great night. It was with a bunch of science teachers, believe it or not. And yeah, had a great night. But I felt very old because it's a student town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dunedin, folks.
Dunners.
Good cheese rolls.
And Dagwoods. Yeah.
I noticed they only had Highlanders gear on sale. Like up here in Auckland, you can find any of the Super Rugby team's gear.
What South Island, what mainlander is going to buy a Blues
It's even
jersey?
true in the Waikato. When I went to Hamilton, they only have Chiefs gear on sale. Like, I just assume, being from Auckland, because we have all the teams on sale, that all the shops just stocked all the gear. But no, Rebel Sport in Dunedin, when I went there, only has Highlanders gear.
Yeah.
Hamilton only has Chiefs gear.
I quite like, there's a store in Silverdale. You know that store in Silverdale which has like every obscure rugby team's jersey and every obscure rugby league team's jersey?
I've never been to
It's
this
called
store.
like, it's not, I don't know if it's called Champions of the World or something like that. Have you been to Silverdale?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
I
but
won
like
a voucher on a Facebook competition and I went up to Silverdale.
It's like you turn. It's in the old. It's the old Silverdale, not the new Silverdale.
That dragger, the strip
yeah,
of shops.
yeah. It might be more NRL stuff than anything else.
I wouldn't be
I'm not
interested
sure.
in NRL.
Yeah. Great win for the Warriors. Great win for the Warriors.
The Waz.
Up the Wars.
How did they get that name, the Waz?
Warriors. Wars.
I don't get it.
Both start with W.
That's so does Weenus.
I don't know. Oh, I think we've got a pitch invader here. Pitch invader. Yeah, get out of here. You. Have you been?
She got makeup on.
Have you got makeup on?
Yeah, she does. Foxy.
She's gonna work. This is in the podcast. They're gonna hear your voice. I just shouted over you.
The other game is are you back in the All Blacks? In the NCG?
Yeah. I think we'll get it done. I'll be disappointed if we don't. Hope it's a good
It'll
game.
be interesting competition-wise if the Wallabies did get a win.
Yes, it would be.
We'll pass the French if we win on the rugby rankings for whatever that's worth.
That's good. A little psychological
Edge ahead of the World Cup.
The opener is a game I'm immensely looking forward to, even though it doesn't. We don't have that problem. We've got no other real threats in our pool, do we?
Italy. Never beaten us.
Yeah, there'll be a hell of
Never will.
yeah, cut to that.
Yep. Keep this for a future occasion when we blow it.
Yeah, I think we should be okay. Like we don't. I would actually be nervous if I was in Pool B.
We've lost to Argentina and Ireland for the first time ever in my lifetime, just FYI.
What, in your lifetime?
Yeah. We'd never lost to Ireland before. We'd never lost to Argentina.
And during your lifetime, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, who else have we lost to
for the first time? I think it's just those two.
We still have never lost to Scotland.
Yeah.
We've never lost in our lifetime to Wales.
In our lifetime, that's true.
Yeah.
We've lost to them back in the 50s.
1953. They got a win. They still go on about it.
It's been a while. A long time was
Get over it. Who else have we never lost to? Yeah, Georgia's never managed to get one on us.
We don't play them very often. We played them at one of the World Cups, and I remember one of the Georgian guys, Marmuka Godgodze, got the man of the match.
Oh, nice.
Put in a big shift.
That's good. Who else have we? Is this exciting for people to watch? No. Watching us talk about teams that basically everybody else has never beaten us. Japan's never beaten us. Italy's never beaten us. It's just your big. What's the smallest nation that's beaten us? The biggest minnow. Is it Argentina?
Maybe.
Is it? Should we just make grunting noises for another fight?
The Boks are hosting the Pumas.
Yes.
So they'll be hoping the Wallabies can do them a favour. And then they need to pump the Pumas. But all the Pumas need to get a big away win over the Boks.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's exciting. Nah, not going to happen. I would love to see that.
I'm pretty sure they're playing in Joburg where the Pumas have never won. I'm not sure if the Pumas have won on South African soil against the Boks, but anyway.
So have the Pumas ever beaten the Boks in South Africa?
That's kind of what I just mentioned, but no, I don't think so.
I was literally not listening to him. I was literally just thinking
I don't think so.
You know, this is the tough thing about podcasts, because you kind of want to, you gotta come up with something to say some of the time. And a lot of the time we're just bouncing off each other or that sort of thing. But occasionally I think about, I wanted to say that. I've got to, and there's a...
Let's tune out for just a second.
Yeah, there's a famous phrase or whatever passage from that Buddha said was, if you're thinking about what you're going to say when someone else is speaking, you're not listening to them, which I'm guilty of.
When I was at the university, we had to do a thing about active listening.
Okay.
Like a course on active listening, which meant you literally need to clear your mind and just focus on what they're saying.
Okay,
you can't be thinking.
Can we try and do I do love a role play, but I don't think it's a role play. This is more a practice. How do we do it? You talk me through it.
Tell me about your penis.
Tell you what, it used to look better than it does now, but I'm still kind of proud of it. It does its job. You know, it gets out there, seen some things, seen some stuff. If I had to give it a name, I'd call it Frank, you know, and I would call my testicles Stephanie and Ralph. So Frank, Stephanie, and Ralph, because I'm trying to be inclusive. Basically, they've seen some stuff. They've been to some places. They've had some bad moments. They've had some moments where they haven't given great accounts of themselves, but they've also had some real highlights. Some highlight material stuff, which they like to think about more so than their low moments. So my penis and testicles are like all of us, trying to focus on the good things in life rather than the negatives.
I mostly succeeded in clearing my mind and just focusing on your penis. I did have a moment, admittedly, when you said Frank. I was like, why Frank? But I decided not to interject. I just decided to focus on what the man is saying about his penis and his balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks, man.
Well done.
So was it just, you just trying to...
Just genuinely, just listen. Don't make a joke. Don't think of some interjection. Just listen.
But that was...
It's hard work. It's hard work listening.
It's hard that you didn't give me much back.
That's the thing, I know, yeah.
I was like, do I keep talking about Stephanie and Frank?
How far do you go with it?
Yeah. I know. So Frank was the penis, Stephanie and Ralph were the testicles.
Being very inclusive, like you said.
That's
I was
right.
listening.
Yeah, 100%.
So you reckon the Boks at home?
Yeah.
There's a bit of talk that they're going to kind of ring some of the changes, like Lacanio might get a rest, Jesse Creel come in, they're going to play, I think.
I reckon you rest on your laurels and you phone it in at your peril with Argentina, and I think they are continuing to look better each year, very slowly. They haven't gone rapidly. They're still, very much the fourth player in the championship, but they are steadily improving. Like when they first got in, they were out Italy, weren't they? They were just getting pumped by everybody.
Every competition. Now it's like, oh well, maybe.
They've been getting one win.
Yeah.
Then 2 wins. Like is this their second win? It didn't look great against us. I think we were on a tear that day. Yeah,
I was gonna say like that kind of habit we've all got as sports fans of just that kind of last game-itis. Like you look at their last game and you go, shit, Argentina maybe a dark horse for the World Cup, but then it was only a week before that we just pumped them at home.
But that level of sport, if you're off a couple of percent, and you can actually, or if somebody actually just tactically outplays you on that game and you don't have the answers in that 80 minutes, that can cost you 20, 30 points.
I mean, that Springboks game is an example, right? We were on fire for that start, and then the rest of the game was pretty tight. They made the
adjustment. Yeah. Or even you look at Nombella. Was it Nombella? Last year, the place where we played our first test against South Africa, we came off a really harrowing series off against Ireland. We lost in South Africa like everyone expected to. And then people were trashing us, telling us how much we're going to lose. And then we came out and pumped them by 3 points. What did we pump them? What did we beat them by?
I don't remember. What a difference a week made.
No, it was more than a try, though, because we were ahead and then we got another try.
What a difference a week made, right?
100%, yeah. Makes a big difference. So I think that they could, like if they won that game, I would not be shocked. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. How's that?
Okay.
How's that?
There are other games on at the same time.
All right. Lay them on me, big boy.
Okay, Ralph.
Ralph's the left one.
Samoa is taking on Fiji in Samoa.
Okay. Samoa's... gotta give it... Oh...
You'd go Fiji, but then last year's Pacific Nations Cup, Samoa got it done.
Samoa's coming off a big win, but I'm thinking travel factor as well. 50-50 pick 'em for me. But I'm going to give that to, I reckon, Fiji.
Japan, Tonga. Japan to bounce back and finally find someone. That's 3 kind of stinkers on the trot for Japan. 2 matches against this All Blacks 15, and then poor game against Samoa, where they did not. They looked like a team playing their first test of the year.
I'm going to give that to Tonga. I think Tongan Stars.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Scotland are playing Italy.
Oh, okay. So the Scots will get that done.
Also, Uruguay are playing Chile.
I'm going to give that to Chile.
I think that's an upset if that happens.
Really?
Yeah, Uruguay's the better team.
Well, I've got a good feeling about Chile, okay?
Can I?
Yeah. Oh, the one.
I think that's 2, actually.
Did you? They're both you?
Both me.
I don't swear on his because I can't be asked beeping them. Yeah, well, here we are, beeping. So that's the rugby.
This has been a weird episode.
It did go on a strange...
It's been tangential.
Well, there often are, but I think I quite enjoy these episodes when we don't have a big
agenda,
a big bit of rugby to sink our teeth into. I really enjoy those weeks when we've got something to really unpack.
Yeah,
but these weeks where we can just
a bit more free reign to talk about Ralph and
active listening.
Yeah,
Ralph, Stephanie, and of course Frank.
What's the next video?
It's about why South Africa will definitely not win the World Cup and why they definitely will.
When can we expect that?
Look, let's say, let's call it. You know what? I always try to do them for the weeks where you're like, we're releasing one on your channel. So I'm like, if I can have one. The 1 week where I release a podcast and then the next I have a video, then that's a good flow. Right. But I'm just so slow that they always seem to come out like 2 days within me releasing a podcast as well. So I have these like massive...
Bam, and then big gaps.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I reckon realistically a fortnight from now.
Seriously?
Yeah. Because it takes me...
I know.
Like I edit stupid shit into them and like I work full time and have a child and all that sort of thing and have to finish writing them. And I'm very slow. Very slow.
If there's one thing I know about you, you're pretty slow.
That's me. Slow in every aspect of life. Just ask Frank, Stephanie, and Ralph.
All right, mate.
Yeah, good work.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. By the way, this is a podcast, and where can people listen to this podcast? It's called
2 Cents Gets Distracted on Spotify.
And you can listen to it on iHeartRadio.
Google Podcast is my personal preference.
I'm more of a Spotify kind of guy myself, but you can listen to it on Stitcher if you like. Or you can find the
Joe Rogan's on Spotify.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He's a big fan.
I know he's a big Spotify guy.
Yes. I know that he knows what the sport of rugby is.
Right.
I think that's the closest we've got to him being a fan of our podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
That's good.
Good stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.
We appreciate it.
How long do we go today, you reckon? Is it
probably longer than we should have.
We could have made this a tight 20.
We could have.
Yeah, we didn't.
But you're glad we didn't. If you listened all this way, appreciate it.
We do. Anyway, ka kite.
Take care, folks.
I didn't know.